Hello and welcome to another episode of Ken's Training. Today's training is going to be on trying to repair a light fixture in which the lights are blinking. I'm in the living room. There are two identical light fixtures. Let me show you. Okay. There's the first one. The lights are on. That's the way it's supposed to be. Now here's the second one over here. Lights are currently off, but I have it off on the switch. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the switch on. Now, this is what the light fixture is doing, and this has been getting progressively worse throughout the entire week. And basically what I've been doing is waiting 10 seconds and then they turn solid, then it turned to 20 seconds and then they turn solid. And then last night it got to a minute and they still weren't solid. They were just still blinking like a Christmas tree. So apparently there is a current limiter inside of here that I'm going to try to find. The current limiting device is used because if the end user puts in a wattage bulb that's, let's just say, a 60 watt or an 80 watt bulb when the fixture only wants it to be 40 watts, then that would be a reason why the manufacturer would want to put in a current limiting device. Apparently this current limiting device has failed. I believe my bulb wattage, I've got 4 40 watt bulbs, which is the standard that it came with, so I'm not overstressing the fixture. It's not because I put higher wattage lamps in there, it's because there's a device in here that has failed. So I'm going to try to find that device, figure out what's going on, and then go from there. Okay, so here's just me and the dogs hanging out. That was Milo. This one over here is Tigo. See if you can say hi. Hey Tigo. Alright, so let's get back to our light fixture that we're working on. Okay, so the lights are still blinking right there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the light switch off, killing the power to the light fixture so I can work safely. And the lights have stopped blinking, indicating to me that without using a meter that at least the power has been interrupted at the switch, so I'm safe. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, try to get you the best shot here. Okay, I'm going to climb up the ladder now and start taking this apart. Okay. Don't know where the current limiting device is located, so I got to find it. Now, this manufacturer, by the way, is Harbor Breeze. There's a nameplate right here. At this top section here, just below the blades, there are 3 screws. I'm going to go ahead, pull out the 3 screws and see if the current limiting device will be revealed. Okay, so there's one. Now on these other 2, apparently I just need to loosen them up. That squeaking noise is Milo with the squeaking toy. I'm going to have to take that away from him because he's killing me. He's interrupting the video. Here's the second one. Okay, now on those 2 I just loosen them up and then bring it down. Alright, I'm going to give you a close-up of this, but right here is definitely going to be the suspect device. Now there's a clip here in which I can pull this all down, so this is fantastic. I had a bungee cord here in case I needed to support this by the blades, but all I need to do is pull this clip apart and pull that down, and now this is completely independent from that. So let me show you a close-up. Okay, so I'll try to give you the best viewing angle possible. Now there were 3 screws. One was here. I removed that one first, and you see the way that this here has like a little bit of a cutout to it right there. All I had to do on this one and on this one was just loosen the screws, take this device, turn it just a small amount, and then bring it down. And then here's the electrical clip. I disconnected that. Now I can actually put this on a tabletop, which we'll just use the dining room table right here. And making sure I don't damage anything, gently putting that down. And now giving you a close-up of the part that I need to remove. Okay. Hang on. Right there is the part that needs to be removed. And let's see what it is labeled here. Hold it. Try to get that writing proper. I don't know if I can get that zoomed in 100%. I'll read it for you. It says Hunter, Memphis, Tennessee, 120 volt, model number, it's even dark for me, 98480X, part number 98480.02, made in China. Now if I wanted to, what I could do is I could just get this part and replace it and go back to normal the way the original manufacturer wanted me to. But I kind of have a problem with this current limiting device anyways. The current limiting device, when it turns the lamps on, first it turns them on and then it kind of dims them a little bit because it controls the current that goes through. The reason why you would want to limit the current is because these conductor wires here are sized so small that they can't handle the wattage of the lamps. So I'm going to just take a moment of my time. I'm going to do some calculations to determine how many watts, the 40 watt and 60 watt. Now these particular bulbs, let me unscrew this bulb for you. This has got the, I think it's a the candela brace base. So it's got not a medium base, but the smaller base. So I don't even know what the highest wattage bulbs is you can put inside of this fixture. But I think they're 60 watts is the highest wattage. But I'll see what the total wattage equals to and try to figure out what size wire this is to figure out what the maximum you would want to put in this fixture anyways. I'll be back. Okay, the first thing I did was I pulled out a bulb, and I don't know if the camera's going to be able to pick this up, but the bulbs that I have in there are 40 watt bulbs, and that is red. Let's see if this will, whoa, it just came out of focus, hold on. If you can read that, it says 40 watt right there, so these are 40 watt lamps. So the camera comes right out of focus when you do that, but basically you're reading it right here on the bulb. So then I looked at the wires over on the chassis harness there for the lighting, and I read right on it that it was 18 AWG, which stands for American Wire Gauge. So then I and then I've got four 40 watt lamps, as you know. Alright, so let me just straighten this out a little bit. Okay, so I've got four 40 watt lamps, and then what I did was I said, okay, what's the total wattage? The total wattage of four 40 watt lamps is 4 times 40, 160. Okay, so we have 160 watts total power on the four lamps currently in there. You take the 160, you divide that by the voltage, take the wattage, divide it by the voltage, it equals the amperage. Okay, which is basically, this is just a simple Ohm's law kind of formula here. The amperage is currently 1.33 amps. So then the next question that you want to ask is, because we have a current limiting device, you want to know, okay, why are we limiting the current, right? So how many amps can an 18 gauge wire hold? Now normally I would look like on the NEC, the National Electrical Code, which I don't have. I also have a copy of the Uglies book, which is just a short narrated version of the NEC code, which is good for simple type work, something like this, where there's great charts to tell you the exact ampacity depending upon your situation, how many conductors in the raceway, things of this nature. Well, I just did a search on the internet to look it up, and this 18 AWG can handle about 14 amps. So even if I took the wattage, my 40 watt bulbs, and even if I put in four 80 watt bulbs and just doubled it, you would be taking 1.33 amps and going to 2.6, 2.7 amps. Well, I can handle 14 amps. I don't need this current limiting device. I'm going to remove it. I'm not going to expend the money to get a replacement one and then put it in there. So that'll be the next step. And I just wanted to verify that it was safe to do so. So that's why I went through the trouble of just doing a little bit of math calculations to determine, okay, what exactly is happening here? Why the manufacturer felt it was necessary to put that much restriction on the fixture, I don't know. But I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to cut this puppy out in 2 seconds. I'll show you how. Okay, here we are. We're back at the fixture. I'm going to try to zoom in so you can see as much detail as possible. Now, when you're looking at the current limiting device, you're looking at 4 wires. 2 of them are white, and 1 of them is black, 1 of them is red. Now the white one is even labeled, this one's labeled common, this one is labeled neutral in. So this is just basically the common coming in, going through this device, coming out, and then going towards the neutral of the 4 lamps. So I guess I could start there. That's just an easy one. All I need to do is basically, I'm going to give myself as much wire as possible here. All I'm going to do is just trim that there, and I'll probably end up using a blue wire nut because I suspect blue is going to be the best choice in this size for an 218 AWG wires. Just strip that out right there and do the next one. Now they used crimp-on connectors. Now you can see that wire, if you can see that is not a solid wire, that's a stranded wire, which is fine. Okay, so I'm just going to take that, put that 2 together, put that on there, and when I do my turning, what I like to do is I like to turn, and I want the 2 wires to start to curl like this. Do you see how that is creating like a curl? Another thing I do is I try to pull back this way to make sure that I've got a good connection. These wires are in there solid. I also don't want fuzzy strands coming out here, which would be conductor wire sticking out. I want everything tucked in so that there is no conductor material, copper, if you will, sticking out in any way. So this is properly terminated in my opinion. So we've taken care of the white. Now we're just going to go with the power. So basically the power is black coming in, and the red is usually a traveler wire. If I just follow it down, I can see the red transitions to a black wire right here, and then the black wire goes to the 4 lamps. So basically it's black in, red out, which is kind of like a light switch. If you had a traveler wire, black would be power coming in, the red would be the traveler wire coming out, if this was a wall switch, but it's not. Okay, same thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut there, removing this device, and see if I can give you a close-up on the manufacturer's name right there or anything. Okay, so that's that. And next, what are we going to do? Same thing we did with the whites. We are just going to do that. I've got a wired zip tie in here that's kind of limiting me, and I'm going to have to cut that as it's bothering me. I can get another zip tie very easily, so I don't have an issue. And now I've got a little bit more room to play with that one. Alright, and the whole thing should not be a problem at all. Okay, so we'll do the exact same thing we did with the whites with this red and black. Cut, trim, and strip this one back here. And I'm going to use a blue wire nut. What I do is I take my wires, I like to start out with them parallel. I don't like them when there's 2 stranded like this. If you had 1 solid, 1 stranded, the stranded would be a little bit more forward than the solid, but this is 2 stranded. I'll start out with them parallel. Start twisting as you put it in, and you got to get that to grab. This one hasn't grabbed yet. Sometimes you got to look in the wire nut and make sure that it's not got a blockage. Let's see if that one works. This is not grabbing properly and it's just coming right off. So that's no good for me. Let me try another blue in case that particular blue just wasn't friendly for some reason. Now look at this, another blue wire nut, but it's grabbing and twisting. So that first blue wire nut that I had just wasn't curling in and grabbing these well. So no problem. That's good. Nice solid connection. This is ready to go and be plugged back in, and I bet you I'll have instant light because I don't have a current limiting device in there at all. There is, let's see here, there's a switch over here for the fan, and there's also this device right here, which I don't know what that is doing. Okay, that's going over to the switch. This is part of the fan right here. This might be, I'm not sure what that is actually. I don't know what this particular device is doing, but it's part of the fan operation, not part of the light operation. Because I can tell because I followed the wires and it goes to this switch here. This is the, hang on a second, make sure I'm in camera. Okay, it goes to this right here, which is the fan switch. The light switch is this one here on the bottom. This is the light switch. So I know that for anything related to the lights, it's got to go with these two wires, this black and this white. Okay, basically this is ready to go, be turned back in and plugged in. While I got this fixture apart, and you'll notice that I've got my ladder here and I've got nice easy access to everything, I'm actually going to pause and I'm going to clean the ceiling fan since it's so easy for me to get to. I'll go ahead and clean that right now. Then I'll go ahead and just clean this fixture up a little bit before I put it back together, and I'll pause for that. Alright, you can see everybody's still tucked in over here. Alright, let's get back to our fixture. I've already cleaned everything up and we're getting ready to put the base back in. Here is the cleaned ceiling fan, and I'll put you up there. Okay. And see if you can see what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to connect this electrical connection strip in there, making sure that I lined everything up. They have colors here that's red and purple to make sure it's lined up properly, and I heard a little snap as it went in. Okay, so that's all good. Next, everything needs to tuck in here properly, and I need to figure out where I want my pull chains to be and so forth in case I ever wanted to operate it. So I'm going to do it this way so that the pull chains are on this side. Alright, so basically this needs to go in like this, and make sure that the holes line up, and so it's basically going in the exact same way it came out. Alright, that one didn't catch. Okay, there it is. Alright, I've got two of them caught, so now I'm going to get that one screw that doesn't have the turn thing on it. Alright, make sure that lines up. I'm just going to support that. A little tricky right here. Okay, right there is where it needs to go. This is a slight trick to get this one. Okay, right there. I'm supporting it with my left hand, and the blade is moving a little bit, and it's just it's a little deceiving. Boy, that is hard. I can't get that one to start. Hold on, there it is. I just had to wiggle it into place. Now that that one's caught, my left arm can relax a little bit. Okay, I'm tightening that up. I'm going to tighten the other two up. And we're going to have a demonstration here in 2 seconds to see whether we are going to be successful. I feel very confident that we will be successful. I don't see any reason why we would not be. Okay, there it is. All of them are in there tight, not stripped out, just snug. And let's go turn the light switch on. Oh boy, look at that. No blinking lights. Everything looks appropriate, as it should. Pole chain is working appropriately. Let's check the ceiling fan. This is a 3-speed fan. It starts out on high, so that's going to be high speed. And basically, that is the ceiling fan. That's pretty much the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.